Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today's video I'm going to be showing you how I made this little quick wig. It's not even like properly glued down because I honestly just didn't feel like it. So, get into this, get into it, honey. I just needed a quick, just a little throw-on wig, because I was tired of the brown and blonde that I just posted in my previous video. If you haven't seen that, I highly recommend you check it out because, it's real cute. Real cute, honey. But, yeah. If you want to know how I got it, just keep watching. I haven't done a jet black, honestly. I don't think I've ever done jet black hair. So, yeah, this is kind of a big moment for me. And, it's taking me a second to, like, readjust to the dark hair. When you just change your hair color and you try to come back to, like, your go-to, it's kind of hard. You kind of feel ugly. So, excuse me while I go, kind of, like, feel myself and get into it, honey. Child. Baby girl. Wanna see me too. Anyway, let's get started with the video. And also, if you want to see this look, I guess I can refilm it. I just threw it together because I also made my very first reel on Instagram. Yeah, so I'll be happy to get that video up for you as well. In the meantime, let's watch this one, and I'll see y'all throughout the video. Alright guys, so this is the hair. My bundles I'm going to be using today are from Ebin, but here is my frontal. It is a 13x4 and it is from Snob Hair. The bundles that I had to get, because this is a last minute thing that I'm doing, the bundles that I had to get, this is a natural black. Let's move the frontal. So as you can see, it's really dark, like completely black. And then here is the frontal right on top. So as you can see, this one is a lot more browner. That's our frontal right here. This is the bundle. So we are gonna go in and color her up a little bit just so that she blends a little more. You can kind of like flip it over and still see. That's what you're gonna see like that when you get ready to wear your unit. And I don't want that. I don't know why it kind of has like a purple cast to it. I don't know if that's my nails or like the thing reflecting off it, but it has like a purple tint, but there's no purple tint to it at all. So yeah, you can kind of really see the straighter pieces are the bundle, the curlier pieces are my frontal. And I just want her to blend because y'all know I'm not a perfectionist, but pretty fucking close to one. So like, this is a really good angle where you can see like, nah sis, that's not gonna slide. So let me show you how I'm gonna color this frontal. Okay, so first you just want to make sure you got your work area prepared for today only, because I normally do not do this. I do not work on my bed, like I don't play that. But today I just took a shoebox cover, and then I have a big old dirty hair towel, and then just a trash bag to work on. That way we don't get any of this dye on our stuff. So we are going to start off with our frontal. I'm not coloring the bundles. I'm only coloring the frontal because I wanted to match the bundles. So, and it's just going to be a nice, simple little look. So we're going to start off with our frontal lace up. We're going to tuck those baby hairs in the front. And we're going to be taking our Got to Be Glued freezing spray. So what we're going to do is we're going to give the back of our lace a nice, generous coat of this. And then I'll show you what else I do from there on. So you just want to really generously apply this to the back of your lace, especially when you're working with blacks and stuff like that. That way you don't damage your lace. Not damage your lace, but stain your lace. We can always fix lace stains, but why would you want to do extra work, So I'm just gonna make sure it's nice and saturated, and then I'm gonna let it sit here a second, especially under my ring light, so it can get nice and hard. Depending on your lace, this lace is pretty thin and it's pretty good quality. You only need to do 1 to 2 layers because once you wash it out, it is gonna make it difficult for you to wash out, and it may dry your lace out. So it's really dependent upon your lace. You can tell, you can just feel the lace and tell how thick it is or how thin it is. So you just want to basically go off what you have. So I only did 1 layer of the spray, and it feels pretty damp still, so I'm just gonna let it dry down some more. So now that the lace is dried, this is like a little, is this science? I guess maybe so, I don't know, don't quote me because I may be wrong, but this is just like how I pictured it working in my head, and it makes sense because whatever. So I take the Nairobi Comfort Zone. You guys know I love this stuff, especially when I do like my relaxers and everything like that. So I take my Nairobi Comfort Zone, and if you want to, you can do this trick. You just want to take a cup of water, and you can see if you do like a couple drops. I don't know if you can really see that in camera, but it literally just floats. So that's why we're going to take this and apply it to the back of our lace, just for extra protection. And that way, if anything does slip up and actually goes through the got to be spray, which it won't, I promise. I've done this numerous times, but if it was to go through our lace, you will still have the extra protection of the comfort zone on the back. And especially since we're using this semi-permanent hair color, this is the Kiss Black T998, just plain old black, because I didn't want to do jet black because I didn't want to have like that bluish hint. So yeah, so we're just squirting this all over. This is a really thick jelly like consistency, so you don't have to worry about this damaging your lace. It's almost like the Vaseline body oil. So yeah, you don't have to worry about it damaging your lace. You don't have to worry about it, like, you know, messing up the actual hair or anything. So this on top of that got to be spray, guys. It's just it's my jam. Alright, so this doesn't dry down, so basically I'm just gonna go ahead and flip her over. And like I said, you just want to make sure that you also got like the edges up there where your baby hair are gonna be, because when you get ready to color them, you know, you don't want no problems. So I'm actually using a real color bowl and a brush this time, guys, so kudos to me, because you know I'll pop out here in a paper cup in a minute. So we are going to go ahead and take our color. I like to go ahead and do the root and the base of my hair first. That way, once the root is done, all you got to do then is just go in and slap the color on the rest, because you know down here it really don't matter. It's just mainly thing is protecting that lace at all costs, because even though you have it protected, you know, you just don't want to do that. You just don't want to get color on your lace regardless. Yeah. So I'm gonna go ahead and put some of this in a bowl like that. Oh shit. And I only have one bottle for my frontal. Honestly, you shouldn't even use this whole bottle. I don't know, this is like a 22, so I may use the whole bottle. I don't know. So basically, you just want to take really thin partings, thin sections. And like I said, the hair is dark, and it's not that big of a contrast between this and my bundles, because this frontal is still dark also. But it's just, I just like unison. Honestly, guys, like I just want it all to be the same. Like, I don't want nobody to be up in my scalp trying to check me, and you know, I ain't got my stuff together. So as you can see, I'm just doing feather-like motions. And just slightly brush it on. Go ahead and saturate both sides. As you can see, that's a little slight motions like this. You want to make sure that you're really saturating everything, but you know, if you miss a couple spots, since this hair is just generally just going to be dark, it's not that big of an ordeal if you do miss a spot or two. But you know, you just want to take your time and make sure that you do catch everything, cause yeah. So once I get about 3 inches up, I'm just gonna go ahead and move on to my next piece. Like I said, I'm gonna come back and do the ends last, just because that's just what works easier for me. because y'all know I am messy when it comes to hair color, but it always tends to work out for me. So, you know, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Okay, so now that our roots are finished, we're just gonna go ahead and throw the dye on the ends of the lace. So I'm gonna take my bag, flip her over. See what I'm working with. No dye on the lace. So that's great. Pop it down like that. Oh, I do got a little dye up here, but look what I can do. Flick it off with my finger. So now we're just gonna take all the hair, coming backwards. Let me scoop this thing up, because if this shit get on my bed, oh my god. And we're just going to we just gonna shove the hair in there like that and massage it in. I'm just gonna dump this whole bottle on here just so it's good and, you know, saturated or whatever. However, make sure we catch those ends, honey. And, you know, just because you're pouring all this dye on the hair doesn't mean that it's saturating and penetrating through. So make sure now that you got to squirt it all over, you actually press it and rub it and massage it into your hair. Like that. Alright, so now that the dye is really on the hair and it's nice and saturated, we're going to let her sit. I can't get these gloves off. My hand. I don't have a nail appointment for a while, so I cannot get dye on my nails. Like, no. Ain't having it. Ain't having it. Alright, so now that our dye is on, she's sitting, she's marinating, she's cooking up. We're gonna leave this on for about probably like an hour or two. If you're new to my channel, or if you're rather, let me say it like this, if you're not new to my channel, then you know I normally leave my hair color on for about overnight, about 12 to 16, 18 hours. But we ain't got time for that because I need to hurry up and throw this little baby together. So we're going to leave her on for about an hour to 2 hours, depending on what time I get finished eating and cleaning up a little bit. So we're going to leave her here, and she's going to sit, and she's just going to breathe. I'm not going to cover her up with anything. You know what? Actually, I am going to cover her up. And you already know me, Erica, with the motherfucking recycle. So I'm going to do this face up. That way nothing gets on, like, the dye from the bag, like the printed on stuff. So, Walmart, you're welcome for this advertisement. Kidding. So, we're just going to cover her up like that. That's fine. And we're going to let her do her thing, and I'll be back in a second. Alright, and once that is finished, you want to go ahead and grab your wig dome cap that you're going to be working with. Go ahead and pop it on your mannequin. And now we're going to get to work. So you basically just kind of like want to line it up on your mannequin the same way that it would sit on your head. And then you want to take your frontal and kind of start playing with it to see about where you want to set it, how far back you need to place it, so forth on. I like to cheat my frontal a little bit and pull it forward meaning down towards the face a little bit more than usual. That way, you know, if my hair isn't molded down real good, I can still throw my wig on and be good to go. So I like to pull mine forward about an inch off of the cap when I sew it down. And I just take some T-pins and I block it down, and I'm going to show you how I sew it on. I kind of sew it the same way I was taught how to sew in like home ec when I took it in high school. I don't know if that's the right way, so I kind of go under, over, well, through the hair, through the cap, then make a loop with it. It's easier when you look at it. It's kind of hard to explain how to sew. It's just one of those things that like your grandma or somebody had to teach you. But yeah, that's kind of like my way of how I sew. I mean, everyone has their own methods, of course, but that's kind of like how Erica does hers, honey. Yep. So I'm not gonna really do the whole video or do the whole wig on camera, just because I do feel like there are a lot of videos with that on there. So I'm really just gonna show you my looping method and basically how I get it on there, and then I just do this across the whole head until the entire wig is finished. Like I said before, this is a frontal 13x4, and then I have 4 bundles. So basically I do like the little loop-de-loop and pull, you know, loop the thread over and under and then over it again. The main thing is you want to sew through the thicker part of your frontal. Yeah, and then once you run out of thread, you just get another piece of thread, tie it in a knot, and do it again. You want to sew through the cap. Also, when you're sewing down your frontal, when you sew down your bundles, it's a little bit different. So I'll kind of walk you through that part as well. And basically, you just keep sewing it like that over and over. Make sure it's nice and tight and secure. I have about I think I like 6 or 7 T-pins across the frontal, keeping it pinned down, making sure that it is nice and tight. That way it stays nice and tight throughout the whole unit process, and it'll be good and tight when you put it on your head, because, you know, yeah. All right, so once you go ahead and sew the entire frontal down on your cap, what you want to do is go ahead, and I like to go ahead and cut the piece of the cap that's underneath the lace. I like to go ahead and cut this inner little flap off, and I leave about a ½ inch of the cap still there, just so that, you know, if I ever need to replace my frontal, I can still do that without, you know, having to re-sew everything together. So I leave about ½ inch to maybe a 1/4 of an inch on there. All right, so now we're gonna go in and sew our bundles. I am gonna be doubling my tracks. It's just easier to me versus trying to do single tracks over and over and over again. It just makes it easier. And for this video, I'm not gonna be cutting my bundles. You can cut your bundles if you're a beginner, but just know that your hair is gonna shred regardless, but it sheds a little bit more once you cut your bundles. So I'm not cutting my bundles. So you want to sew through the mesh part of the cap only. You don't want to sew through the elastic band on your wig cap, because if you do, the wig is not going to stretch and it's not going to fit your head. So make sure you're only sewing through the actual fabric part, not completely through the stretchy part of the dome cap. And you just want to push it through. If you get a little stuck like me, that's okay. You know, force that baby on through and keep it trucking. Another thing that I like to do to also kind of like help prevent as much or as minimum shedding as possible with my hair, I only sew through the wefts when I'm just putting the track on the unit, or if I'm ending that track on the unit. So I only sew through the weft like the first two stitches. As you can see, it's going through the weft right here, and after that I'm sewing around the tracks. That way I'm not keep poking in and out that weft to, you know, cause breakage and cause more shedding. So it's kind of easier to see than it is to say. You just want to make sure that you're sewing around it when you get throughout the middle of your tracks, and then sew back through your wefts when you get to the end of the track. That way you can flip it over and do the same thing again. And same thing applies. Just make sure that you're not sewing through that elastic band. You're only sewing through the mesh fabric part of the cap. can't do that thing. I need to learn how to make this shit on a sewing machine.
Right. Yeah, the special intrusive fluid. I want your prescription. 2 guys on ski caps and stocking this. Can you read already? Oh, yeah. Don't look like what? Don't worry.
We got it. I see it. You found that wheel.
How are you doing, Doctor?
Frankly, I feel a lot better with Dr. Collier.
Snap my fingers here.
Who is Dr. Collier?
So, as your daughter's been undergoing treatment for years, psychiatrist after mother, which she is now, Dr. Collier's better qualified to deal with. There's something wrong with her.
Oh, my whole butt out. Oh, my God.
Who butt
Oh,
out?
my God.
Who butt out?
These two people fighting my whole butt out.
Guys, let's get started inside. Who gets to the
What the heck is it?
Come on with me.
You just stand on the guy. The only way to get down here is there.
You don't see no good fights on Instagram no more. I'm in the scrolling every other post with a good ass fight. You don't even get to see it no more. This is freaking knocking bull. Hey.
That's what she said.
Ha ha! You're mad, big man. Big sad.
Sorry to disturb you, but just one question. You said that you were having a drink. Could I ask what it is that you were...
Martini.
I just want to make sure that you tell Sergeant to disturb you. You don't have to live. Just a few more, please. Oh, I like this place.
Best of luck. That's the second thing. Thank you very much.
Take a drink like you're starting here. I like this. That's clean. Oh, okay, bread.
Boy, you got my heartbeat running away.
Lieutenant?
Yeah.
We might have a break on the car. Outside.
Oh, they got it. Wow.
And all that extra beef.
Which one? Piece of milk? Yeah.
Right. What do you got? I'm not sure.
See that left post? There's a dent on it. I don't know if it means anything, but
You see something? Just a second. You got a piece of paper? Piece of paper? What kind of paper? Any kind of paper. Give me a piece of paper.
And since we're at the end of this track, you can see I'm going back in and I'm sewing through everything. I'm actually sewing through the weft. I'm sewing a little bit through the lace and everything just to make sure that it's nice and tight, nice and secure. So once that's been looped through, I'm going to pin my needle up there out the way and I'm just going to flip it over. That way I can make sure that I keep my bundles nice and tight, close together. I don't like having a whole lot of space between my tracks because it makes your hair look not full. And no one wants that, honey. So just pin it to one side and you basically go back in and do the same thing that you did over and over and over and over and over again until you fill up the wig or until you run out of hair. You always can go back and add more hair. There's always room for more hair. Once you finish sewing everything together, you follow the process over and over. It's going to look something like this. Here we go. Here we have it. Yeah, I haven't done jet black in forever. So yeah, I hope y'all enjoyed this video. I look forward to seeing you in my next one. And I love ya. See you in my next video. Bye.